There are several places in the application where we're using logo component. First of all, it is within the header, inside of the footer, as well as on registration and authentication pages. But currently, we're using different components for all those cases. So I prefer to create one component that we can reuse for each use case where we need to show logo in the application. Let's start with app header logo component. I'm gonna open up this component. It is used inside of app header component. Let's open up app footer component and find the place where logo is used in there. Here we have additional component app footer branding, and this component contains markup for the logo inside the footer. And one more place where we're using markup for the logo is within the auth.vue layout. This layout is used on registration and authentication pages. So now let's start with creating one component that can be reused everywhere to show the logo. I'm just going to rename app header logo component on app logo because this component will not be used in any particular parent element. That is why I'm not using any specific component names within this component name, such as header or footer. And to cover all possible use cases and reuse this component in any place, we're going to accept additional classes from outside. Specifically for the icon, since we're using icon to show the logo in the application, the icon classes prop will be of a string type, since it is going to be a list of CSS classes as a string. Alright, now I'm going to use this component inside of app header component right here and pass icon classes prop. List of classes for this prop we can take from app logo component from here, because now we're going to pass it from outside. We cannot simply hard-code it within app logo component. Actually, there is one class that still can be hard-coded, and that is this -rotate6 class. So let's keep this class inside of app logo component and simply append the rest of icon classes accepted from outside to this string like so. So we don't have to additionally pass -rotate6 class in here. Let's remove it and also remove the old app header logo component from here. Next up, some use cases have to support passing text for the logo from outside. So I'm going to use default slot within app logo component right here. And in case we're going to pass text into this slot from outside, we will show this span element. So I'm using Vue directive in here and checking if default slot is not empty, then we have to show this span element along with the default slot. And now where we're using this app logo component inside the header, I'm going to pass the text in between component texts like this. And since we have not only the icon within the logo component but also text, we also need to have an option to pass list of classes for the text. Actually, we can simplify things a little bit in here and use all those classes directly on the root element of this component. And due to the cascading nature of CSS, all those classes that are applied to the root element of this component will be also applied to the descendant element, which is this span element in this case. So let's just take all these classes and pass it directly to the app logo component as a class attribute, and Vue is automatically going to forward this attribute and assign it to the root element of the app logo component. And that means that we no longer have to use class attribute on this element. Let's remove it. And also let's take font black class from here and use it directly within app logo component, because this class will be applied all the time regardless of the place where we're gonna use this app logo component. So now that we are done with that, let's just make sure that this logo is properly shown inside the header. As you can see, it's all good. And now this logo is represented by app logo component instead of the app header logo component as before. The only thing left to do in this lesson is to actually reuse this new component in other places. Next one is a footer, so I'm going to copy the markup of the logo from the app header component and paste it into the app footer branding component where we are showing footer logo. We'll just have to update some classes that have to be used specifically for footer logo. Let's take this list of classes, assign it to the class attribute right here, and as you remember, font black class is already used within app logo component, so no need to pass it here. Let's also take all these classes specific to the logo icon used inside the footer and pass it within icon classes prop. But -rotate6 class is already used inside app logo component, so no need to pass it in here. I'm going to remove this class from the list. Alright, cool. Time to remove the old logo markup from the footer and check how the new logo component is shown. Everything is fine. In Vue DevTools, we're seeing that this logo is also represented by the app logo component. And eventually, let's open up registration page. And here will be one more place where we are showing the logo. So time to reuse our new component in this place as well. Let's open up OS layout because this layout is used to render, register, and login pages. And right here, let's paste markup of the logo. In this specific scenario, we don't have to pass any text for the logo since we're displaying only the logo icon. I'm going to use self-closing component tag. These classes are intended to be used for the text of the logo, but since there is no text in this case, we don't have to pass this class attribute at all. Let's just update list of classes for the icon itself. I'm gonna use this list, and as you remember, -rotate6 class is already hard-coded within app logo component. I'll remove it from here. And finally, let's get rid of the old markup of the logo and check the final result in the browser. And this way we were able to create generic logo component that can be reused in any place of the application. Currently we're using the logo component in 3 different places: inside the header, footer, and inside of the OS layout on registration and authentication pages. Link to the source code of this project will be, as always, in the video description.